My loves, this is the forbidden glass of wine. But tonight, it is not only wine we sip, it is memory, it is blood, it is survival. We return once again to the cane fields, to the hills, to the silent echoes of chains and courage in St. Lucia, to the voices of those who were enslaved, those who rebelled, and those who endured long enough for us to call ourselves free. Their story is our story, their pain is our inheritance, their freedom is our duty to protect. So lift your glass with me and let us drink not to forget, but to remember. This is their story. This is our reminder. This is the forbidden glass of wine. The year was 1834. Across the Caribbean, the word spread like a song carried by the sea wind. Slavery is over. We are free. It began as a whisper in the cane fields, a murmur among tired men. Then it grew, a ripple across the plantations, spilling into the villages, echoing through the mountains. Mothers clutched their children, tears blurring their sight. Hope rose like the morning sun, but the dawn, my loves, was not full daylight. It was only a thin ribbon of light before the storm, because the morning of freedom came clothed in a shadow. They said we were free and but kept us bound. They said the chains were gone, but forged them in paper instead of iron. The whip no longer cracked in the open, but the same pain echoed in hidden corners. Freedom was spoken in English, signed in London, but felt nowhere in the hearts of the people. In 1834, Parliament announced emancipation. London rejoiced. But here, freedom came folded between the lines of a contract. They named it the Apprenticeship system, a polite word for a cruel design. Under this new law, every person once enslaved was declared an apprentice to their former master. For 4 long years, they were required to keep working on the same plantations for the same masters. Adult labor, 45 hours a week without pay. They were told, "You are no longer slaves, but you must serve." They said the lash was gone, but in its place came laws. Magistrates replaced the whip, writing punishments into ink instead of leather. The system was a mirror with a new reflection, slavery disguised as supervision. The planters called themselves guardians, but they were guarding their profits, not the people. The chains were gone, but the bondage remained. Come closer, my loves, and see how apprenticeship felt in St. Lucia. At Castries, ships still came and went, carrying sugar and rum as if nothing had changed. In the cul-de-sac valley, the cutlasses still flashed at dawn. Men rose before the rooster, bent to the cane for 45 hours a week for free. At Soufriere, the earth smelled of sulphur and rain. Women stooped in the boiling house, steam stinging their eyes. Sundays were for rest, yet even Sunday had a price. A woman stood before the magistrate and said in Creole, "Monsieur, me pas esclave encore." "Sir, I am no longer a slave." He answered in careful English, "Madam, you are an apprentice." The difference was only ink. In the evenings, chapels filled. Bon Dieu, ban nous fausse. Old men rubbed their wrists where iron once bit. This too was St. Lucia in apprenticeship, a quiet curriculum of survival. We schooled ourselves in the art of enduring and in the science of freedom yet to come. So when 1838 came, St. Lucia did not greet freedom as a stranger. We had practiced her in the shadows. Picture him, my loves. An old man named Baptiste. He was born enslaved. He learned to measure time not by the clock, but by the ache in his back. When word came that slavery had ended, he fell to his knees and whispered, "Bon Dieu, merci." Thank you, God, at last. But at sunrise, it was the same bell calling him to the fields, the same voice shouting orders. The overseer arrived, not with a whip this time, but with papers. He said, "You are no longer slaves, but you must serve as apprentices." Hope broke his heart. He understood. Freedom had come dressed in deceit. The whip had become a law. The chain had become a contract. Yet Baptiste kept his vow. He taught his children to read, to count, to speak their worth. He told them, freedom is not given, it is taken and kept. And when the final bell rang in 1838, he smiled, a quiet smile Like a man who had carried the cross long enough to see the dawn, he whispered his last prayer, Bon Dieu, me vois soleil là. God, I see the sun. By 1836, the Caribbean was restless. Apprenticeship no longer meant promise, it meant betrayal. In London's grand halls, men argued over humanity, while here, humanity bent once more beneath the cane. But the people had learned too much to ever go quietly again. In St. Lucia, they gathered at night whispering, no more. Empty fields on Mondays, resting their souls. By 1838, the empire could no longer defend the lie. August 1st, total emancipation. Oh, what a sound it was. Church bells were cleaned, drums were tuned, mothers dressed children in white. St. Lucia finally took her first full breath. But freedom did not come with wealth, it came with wounds. The cane fields still belonged to the masters. The chains were broken, but the scars remained. This was true emancipation, won not by Parliament, but by persistence. My loves, freedom delayed is freedom denied. 2 centuries later, I ask, are we truly free? When our sons fall to bullets instead of the lash, is that freedom? We have traded iron chains for invisible ones, poverty, division, corruption. Some of us have become our own oppressors. We gossip where we should uplift. We kill not only with weapons, but with words, with envy, with neglect. This is not the freedom our ancestors prayed for. They fought for a future where their children would live in dignity, not die in despair. True emancipation is written in how we treat one another. Freedom is not an event on a calendar. It is a daily choice. To free ourselves not from masters, but from mindsets. To stop spilling blood on the same soil that once drank the sweat of our ancestors. We owe them more than violence. We owe them peace. This glass tonight is memory made liquid. It is a ritual of remembrance. True freedom is not the absence of chains, it is the presence of peace. To the ones who came before, we say, nous libérés. To the ones who come after, do not forget. Let us honor their fight not with more blood, but with more love. Teach our children that freedom is sacred and peace is power. Let the killing stop. Let the healing begin. May your nights be peaceful, your hearts be kind, and your freedom true. Until next time, my loves, let the memory live, let the hope rise, and let the healing begin. Join me, Lady Divine, for the next sip of truth, healing, and history inside the forbidden glass of wine.